My name is Ryan Fisher. I'm an investigative journalist and explorer, and I'm applying the tools of my trade to all things Nephite. I'm launching into a series of investigations into Nephite archaeology, scriptural history, and prophecies about latter-day America. This is Nephite Explorer. Previously on Nephite Explorer, my investigation into the location of the Nephite lands led me to archives in Nauvoo, where there is a letter written by Joseph Smith to his wife Emma, in which he described roving over the ancient mounds of the Nephites while trekking across Ohio. I then explored ancient mounds that date to that time period of the Nephites with archaeologist and writer Wayne May. My investigation into the promised land of the Nephites continues. I've come here to Plymouth, Massachusetts, to investigate an event prophesied by Nephi in the Book of Mormon, an event that may help determine the location of the promised land of the Nephites.
Now I've come here to Plymouth in the rain on this drizzly day to investigate a prophecy by the prophet Nephi as found in the Book of Mormon. Here we read in chapter 13, "And it came to pass that I looked and beheld many waters, and they divided the Gentiles from the seed of my brethren. And it came to pass that the angel said unto me, Behold, the wrath of God is upon the seed of thy brethren. And it came to pass that I beheld the Spirit of God, that it wrought upon other Gentiles, and they went forth out of captivity upon the many waters. And I beheld the Spirit of the Lord, that it was upon the Gentiles, and they did prosper and obtain the land for their inheritance. And it came to pass that I, Nephi, beheld that the Gentiles who had gone forth out of captivity did humble themselves before the Lord, and the power of the Lord was with them." Here we read that the Gentiles, the pilgrims and Puritans, came out of captivity to the promised land. Now, is this the same promised land that Lehi came to? Nephi answers that in chapter 13. "Nevertheless, thou beholdest that the Gentiles who have gone forth out of captivity and have been lifted up by the power of God above all other nations upon the face of the land, which is choice above all other lands, which is the land that the Lord God hath covenanted with thy father, that his seed should have for the land of their inheritance." Here we read that the land that Lehi came to and was covenanted to him as an inheritance for him and his posterity is the same land that the pilgrims came to, and they received this land as an inheritance for them under covenant also. It's the same land. It's as simple as that.
Now, we don't know exactly where Lehi landed, but we do know exactly where the Pilgrims landed, and that's where I head next. I've come to Plymouth, Massachusetts to meet with scholar Bruce Porter, who explains that the Pilgrims are really descendants from the tribe of Ephraim in ancient Israel. And those Pilgrims meet the natives of North America, who are Lamanites from the tribe of Manasseh through their ancient father Lehi. So in a sense, this is a meeting for those two tribes, the tribe of Ephraim and Manasseh.
So I find it interesting that on this spot we have the tribe of Ephraim meeting with the descendants of Manasseh.
Yeah. It's a reunion of sorts. It's a Book of Mormon reunion when Ephraim meets Manasseh all over again. It's just as there was Ephraim and Manasseh in the Book of Mormon, here we have two brothers coming together again. One who had left a record buried unbeknownst to the Lamanites or the Native Americans that were here. The other one, coming from across the sea, are coming in order to find that record that those Native Americans have left. And the first commandment they get once they do get that record is to make sure that those Native Americans that were here get a copy of that and that story of their ancestors.
Now, this concept that the primary purpose of the Book of Mormon, written by Nephite prophets, is that it is to be given to the Lamanites. It's to be a record given in latter days to the Lamanites. This concept is outlined in the first page of the Book of Mormon itself on the title page. Check this out. an account written by the hand of Mormon upon the plates taken from the plates of Nephi. Wherefore, it is an abridgment of the record of the people of Nephi and also of the Lamanites, written to the Lamanites, who are a remnant of the house of Israel. The first stated purpose of the Book of Mormon is that it is written to the Lamanites. And where did that title page come from? Was this some latter-day interpretation? No. Joseph Smith once wrote, "I wish to mention here that the title page of the Book of Mormon is a literal translation taken from the very last leaf on the left-hand side of the collection of book of plates, which contain the record which has been translated. And that said title page is not a modern composition, either of mine or of any other man who has lived or does live in this generation." So it was written by Moroni, who tells us that the very first purpose of the Book of Mormon is that it is a record to be given to the Lamanites. But that's not all. The coming forth of the Book of Mormon we can trace back to the Nephites themselves, as we read in Doctrine and Covenants chapter 10. "And behold, all the remainder of this work does contain all those parts of my gospel which my holy prophets, yea, and also my disciples, desired in their prayers should come forth unto this people." He's talking about Nephite prophets. "And I said unto them that it should be granted unto them according to their faith in their prayers. Yea, and this was their faith, that my gospel, which I gave unto them that they might preach in their days, might come forth unto their brethren the Lamanites, and also all those that had become Lamanites because of their dissensions." So here we read that thousands of years ago, Nephite prophets prayed and asked God to bring this gospel, bring the records of their people to their brethren, the Lamanites, and all those who had dissented from the Nephites, even thousands of years after the Nephites were to be wiped off the earth, who would be gone. And that was their faith and their prayers. And because of that faith, it was so strong that God granted unto them their desire. And that's why we have the Book of Mormon. And that's what's stated in the title page of the Book of Mormon, that it is a record that is to go to the Lamanites. That's the first stated purpose of the Book of Mormon, because of the faith of the Nephite prophets. I mean, how cool is that?
So what happened next? Did Joseph Smith fulfill the prophecy and prayers of the Nephite prophets once he had the Book of Mormon? To find out, I meet with author and archaeologist Wayne May at the Joseph Smith farm in Nauvoo, Illinois.
Approximately 3 to 4 days after Joseph received the first Book of Mormon off the Grandin Press, he had a revelation from God, and it's in Doctrine and Covenants 32. And in there, he identifies that he needs to take the gospel to the Lamanites.
As soon as the Book of Mormon was translated, get this, Joseph Smith received a revelation from the Lord reinforcing this concept that the Book of Mormon's primary purpose, its first purpose, other than to contain the gospel of Jesus Christ, is to go to the Lamanites. He receives this revelation, which is recorded in D&C 32. "And now concerning my servant Parley P. Pratt, behold, I say unto him that as I live, I will that he shall declare my gospel. And that which I have appointed unto him is that he shall go with my servants Oliver Cowdery and Peter Whitmer Jr. into the wilderness among the Lamanites."
And he actually sends on the mission Oliver Cowdery, Parley P. Pratt, Zebba Peterson, and David Whitmer. He sends them out on their first mission, and he tells them to take the gospel to the Lamanites. He doesn't say Indians, he says Lamanites. I find that very interesting for us today to distinguish the difference.
So Joseph Smith is commanded to send Parley P. Pratt and others into the wilderness among the Lamanites and to bring them the record of their forefathers.
And of course, the first question is, well, where do they go? Do they go down into different parts of America? No, they stayed right here in North America.
This is where it gets really good. Here we read in the autobiography of Parley P. Pratt, quote, "Thus ended our first Indian mission, in which we had prepared the gospel in its fullness and distributed the record of their forefathers among 3 tribes, the Cattaraugus Indians near Buffalo, New York, the Wyandots of Ohio, and the Delawares of West Missouri."
And they preached the gospel, and it says they took the gospel to their forefathers, that this was the book of their ancient history. I think that's very, very specific, and I don't know how we've missed that.
If Joseph Smith did not know where the remnant of the Lamanites were, if he did not know who those people are and where they were in the latter days, then there's no way for him to fulfill that prophecy. He knew, and the Lord commanded him to send missionaries with the Book of Mormon to those people, and that's where they went: Ohio, Missouri, and New England. This isn't speculative or theoretical. It gives us an exact place, according to Revelation through Joseph Smith, where the descendants of the Lamanites are. And those people are the people that met the colonists here in Plymouth.